Hi. So normally I would not be doing a movie review. I never set out to do movie reviews on my channel. I think that would really be better left to people that I think are more qualified, such as Big Al Presents, Professor Geek, Fan Man. But I felt that this one I wanted to share my opinions about. Um, so yesterday I took Nanette to see Rambo: Last Blood. And I'll just say it up front. Do I recommend this film? Absolutely, I do. Was it a good film? It had its flaws. That's definitely true. Did I like the film? That's not a word I would use. Um, I respect it a great deal. I will see it again. But it's not the kind of thing you like, per se. I wouldn't say it was a fun movie. Yes, it was an action film, but not in the gung-ho fun kind of way. Uh, and I want to think this through because I really don't want to do a lot of spoilers. Okay, I don't want to do any spoilers. I want you to be able to see the movie as it's intended. Um, but yeah, you don't leave the film uh, happy, but you should leave the film thoughtful. And I don't think enough films today make us think. There's just not enough thinking going on, period. It should make you want to talk about it. That's another thing that I don't think is happening enough. There isn't enough dialogue. And I mean amicable, thoughtful, friendly, intelligent dialogue, not the kind of stuff that we're seeing on social media these days. Um, there is there is a lot of violence. If you're not the type that can stomach violence in a film, don't see this movie. But then again, it's a Rambo film. If you don't know it's going to be violent, I don't know why you'd be considering seeing it in the first place. Is it more violent than previous Rambo films? That's arguable. The violence is different, and it's different in the way it's portrayed because they have the technology to portray it differently. It's fairly graphic. It takes advantage of the filming styles, the CG, and so forth that exist today. Is it more realistic? Some of it is. Some of it is still very Rambo. We're talking about a movie series where the main character gets a through and through and puts gunpowder into the wound and lights it to cauterize it, somehow without passing out. So how realistic do you really expect it to be? But I encourage people to see this movie. I think in many ways it's a movie that we need right now. Don't believe what you're seeing in the reviews, the shill media, if you want to call it that, the headlines that I've been seeing. These are either people that didn't truly see the film or can only see it through a very blinder focused, you know, prism of their own belief system, and they're projecting on it what they expect it to be, not what is actually there. It is a story that deserves analysis, not assumptions. Okay, I've seen this film called racist. Well, do we not want diversity in Hollywood? This film has a cast that is almost entirely Hispanic characters. That's both protagonists and antagonists. So that's diversity. Okay? You got to expect that. Just because you're a particular group doesn't mean you don't have villains among that group. Okay? Evil exists in every person. They are capable of both good and evil. And I think this film is all about that. That, I think, is probably the key point of this. Everyone is capable of good and evil. Sometimes it comes down to choices, and sometimes those choices are made for you. But regardless, you are responsible for the choices you make. I think I just summed up the movie without giving you any spoilers. So I would encourage you, for no other reason than to dig into that morsel, see this movie. I think fathers should see this movie. Really, all parents should see this movie. I think every daughter should see this movie. There is bad stuff going on out there. That's always been true. That's not something that's new. What seems to be new is the way we bury our head in the sand and try to ignore what's going on in the world around us and being intentionally naive about it. Look, if you want to see everything through a projected prism of your belief system, obviously you can do that. There is, and I won't go too far into this so as not to give a spoiler, but there is one scene that is incredibly relevant. I won't explain why, but there's a situation where Rambo is coming back from Mexico, and instead of going through the proper checkpoint, he goes out into the wilderness where there's no checkpoint and drives through a barbed wire fence. Now, you can project on that what you will. You can say, see how easy it is to get across the border illegally? Or you can say, see, that border means nothing. The border should just be open. Whatever your belief is. But I encourage you to take it in the spirit of the story that it is within, not your own preconceived notions. Okay? I will not say it was a perfect movie. There was some clunky moments. I think it would do with some editing. Although, unlike what I heard Midnight's Edge say, I don't think that editing is a pacing problem. I disagree with that. I think the pacing is, if not perfect, at least thoughtful in the way it builds the drama. It's not this, quick, get on to the next scene, get on to the next explosion, get on to the next, blood spatter, okay? The character development is there. The drama is there. These scenes need to build slowly for the later scenes to have impact. But still, not perfect. I think there's some things they could have done differently. I think some of that character development, some of that story progression needed an editor's eye to say, wait, how did you get to that point? We kind of infer it later on. I don't know if I missed something from the previous movie. I did not see the previous Rambo movie, so if it's making a reference to that one in particular, I wouldn't know it. So I had to pick it up from the context. If that's the case, that's my fault, and then they did their job by putting enough information in there for me to pick up the context. If not, then they didn't fully establish the story leading in my opinion. At least not as well as they could have. Obviously, it was good enough for me to get the idea. But yeah, I don't know what else I can possibly say about this movie that I haven't already conveyed. Actually, there is one other thing. One of the headlines that I saw was about the writer. I don't even remember his name now, but the guy who originally wrote First Blood and created the character of Rambo. I guess he doesn't like this movie. He went all Alan Moore on it. And he said he walked out of the theater. Well, if you walked out of the theater, you didn't see the whole movie, so you can't even give a good critique of it. And if you didn't like what's become of the property you created, that's too bad. You shouldn't have sold it then. I don't see you giving the money back that you received for it. And if you're not willing to do that, then I really don't want to hear what you have to say about it. Okay? Sorry. And I guess, to be honest with you, I don't care what most of the critics are saying about it, because they can't be objective about it, because they can't evaluate it based on story content and uh, editing and actually objective things, the story craft, which is what you should be looking to a critic for. They can't see past their own preconceived notions in politics. Honestly, I don't care about that. That's not why I turn to a critic. I turn to a critic just to get an idea of how good the movie's going to be before I fork out what could be a lot of money these days to see something. Especially these days when I go in with an expectation that a sequel to something that I loved is going to still be that thing that I loved, and invariably I find out it's not. That's a waste of my money, and that's why I'm not going to the movies much anymore. But I would encourage you, if you tend to see these kinds of things the same way I do, if you feel like anything I said just now kind of has a resonance with you, go see this movie and judge it for yourself. And if you agree, let me know. And if you disagree, let me know in a constructive, honest way. Do your own YouTube video. Tell people what you think about it. Do the social media thing. But do it for yourself. Engage. See the film. Think about it. This is not a reaction video. I was going to do a video yesterday when I got back from the theater and didn't. I waited 24 hours to really think about it. And I feel like I have a better view of it now. And I still do want to see it again. There's a lot of details I feel that I missed. I want to go back and see the whole Rambo series again. This is a character that I think we need. Oh, and if you're going to respond with the phrase toxic masculinity, I really don't want to hear what you have to say. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. If you're going to take a whole group of people and say that they're toxic because of the way they identify, then you're a hypocrite and you're a bigot. Okay? Masculinity is not toxic, it is necessary. It has always been necessary. It was created by millions of years of evolution. It's why that's why any life exists on this planet, not just human life. All animal life exists because of that bestial predator nature, that nature that we as a society have put reins on, but we don't want to get rid of. There's a line from I believe it was the first Rambo movie. You're an anachronism. Okay, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't Rambo. I think it was Clint Eastwood movie called Heartbreak Ridge. That's what it was. Excuse me. You're an anachronism. You're a soldier. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember. You're a soldier from a bygone era who should be encased in glass that reads "break in case of emergency." And I think that's what masculinity is looked at these days. It's looked as something that we need to hide in a back room somewhere, and we bring it out only in an emergency. Well, at least it has that value, okay? But I don't think people are even able to see that anymore. Masculinity is important. I like to think of myself as masculine. Maybe not even as masculine as I'd like to be, okay? But I identify as masculine. And if you think I'm toxic because of this, why are you still even watching this video? Why are you following me on YouTube? And why would you be a friend of mine on Facebook? Okay? I am who I am, and if you don't like what I am, that's not me being toxic. That's you being toxic. That's our society that's become toxic. And that's what we need to be fighting against. All right, I think I've said enough. I think I've said more than enough. But at least I've gotten it out, and at least I feel better about having done so. Thanks for watching. Take care.